This is 5G Talent Talk with Carrie Charles, CEO of Broadstaff Talent Solutions. Brought to you by RCR Wireless News and Telecom Careers. Connect at carriecharles.com. And now, here's Carrie Charles.
A leader's second greatest concern after finding skilled workers is turnover and retention. In a tight labor market, workers are taking advantage of the opportunity to change jobs, which has led to an increase in employee turnover. And with the rollout of 5G, skilled workers are hard to come by and even harder to replace. But today, I'm talking to a leader who knows how it's done. I'm Carrie Charles, your host of 5G Talent Talk, and I am thrilled to have with me today one of the most well-respected leaders in telecom, Dan Leaf. Dan is the CEO of Leaf Communications, and let me tell you, he has a long list of awards here, and I wish I had time to go through every one of them, but I will name a few. Top 500 CEOs, top award for family business, Excellence in Entrepreneur Award multiple times, Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and 4 times so far fastest growing company, and Site Tracker Best Culture finalist. So Dan, wow, thank you so much for joining us today on 5G Talent Talk.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. I'm excited to be here.
So Dan, tell us more about Leaf Communications.
So Leaf Communications, as you stated, we're in the DAS 5G wireless build-out, and we like to look at ourselves as kind of a construction but technology company. And what we do is we build these networks from beginning to end, starting with site acquisition through the A&E, architectural engineering, full construction, and then into the integration. And we do a lot of designs servicing major carriers in the country, as well as enterprise developers, and everything in between.
So from personal experience here, it is easy to recruit for Leaf. Describe your company culture, Dan. What makes Leaf different?
We really push energy in our company, and we found that if we can take the leadership excitement as our growth and push it down to a lot of folks doing the day in, day out work, we found that they get really excited. We get them energetic in what they're doing and making them feel that they are a big part of the success. And so each employee within our organization knows they're a critical asset to our puzzle. Our culture is important to us. We really put that at the forefront as we go to our clients and talk about our projects. We know that the reputation is everything in this industry. It's a very small industry. And so as we can retain talent by that culture, whether it's a higher pay than our competitors, benefits that aren't necessarily your traditional benefits, or giving the ability for these young, energetic people to have that runway to exceed as fast as they can has been a big positive for our company and our culture as we've grown through the last 5 and 6 years.
So Dan, Leaf is a disabled veteran business enterprise. Thank you for your service. And I also am a former Marine. I guess you shouldn't say former. I'm still a Marine. But I hear all the time that companies want to hire more vets, especially telecom companies. Amazing transferable skills there. And you've really had success here. What are some strategies you use to recruit and retain veterans?
We really reach out and promote the military internally, and being prior military and then doing 2 years as part of the Department of Defense as a civilian, obviously is near and dear to my heart. And so when we go out to talent, we obviously love the military experience because it brings the commitment, the drive. We know that they can go through the ups and downs of this business in general. And we are proactive with the local military bases around us. So we do a lot of career fairs, specific to Camp Pendleton, near our headquarters. And we feel that that's a big asset to us because they come in, they understand the chain of command, they understand what it takes to get something done at all costs. As we both know in this industry, there's ups and downs. There's the good days, the bad days. And we just have found with the military that culture is taken away as they exit. And when they come into our organization, it bleeds out, and it brings the other players around them up. And so That's been a big part for us, is just focus on military. Anything we can do to recruit. From the military side, when I was exiting, I realized there wasn't a really good program, at least for me, of, okay, you're now becoming a civilian. How are you going to get out and go to your next phase of your life? You have this career. It's been driven by the military, but there's not really a big plan after. And we found that if we can get and educate those exit plans and the transition, we do find a lot of talent that otherwise I don't think would know our market exists. And they know that there's an opportunity for them to take what they've learned, the discipline they have, and keep pushing forward.
Good for you. Dan, you have an unusually low turnover at Leaf. How have you achieved this? I mean, what's your secret?
Well, we're really flexible. Your typical job, I think, you're 9 to 5, come in, take your hour lunch, leave when you're done. We don't think is really existent in our market. And so what we do is, for starters, is we really open up the door that caters to them. And part of that is they may have young families, or, in our space, you have to drive maybe an hour or two to that site or to the office, because we cover such a big geographic. And so what we've done, that's kind of been our secret sauce, is allowed folks to make their own hours. Some folks might come in at 5 a.m. so they can get out at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and do something, whether with family or something to beat traffic. And so that's the first start for us is, if we give the tools to be successful and you come in and you're disciplined, you can really have the hours. And so that's really started it. And it gets people excited because it's not this traditional time and whatever's effect that goes out from that is their problem. We really take that problem, as a company and as a leader, to make them really feel that they have the ability to be flexible. And so that's really been a big start. I think we also offer a lot of benefits that are, it allows them to get a little bit farther in their career than otherwise probably traditionally in their stage of their life. That's been a big plus for us. And then lastly, we really have a high energy, fun culture. And so when people come in, they really feel that, and it energizes them. And I think that's the most important piece to this, is they have to feel like they're part of that big puzzle, that their commitments, their decisions, their actions contribute to the big success. And since we've been on this fast growth curve, averaging 40+% year-over-year growth, and what we're looking at for 2020, we have to have that excitement. We have to get them really excited about it, because if they don't, then it gets stagnant. And I think that's when you start to take a wrong turn with the culture and just with the turnover rates. I think that's a really big piece to keeping people, is getting them excited and wanting to come to work and looking more like a job, but a fun job, versus something they're doing just to get to the end of the day.
Yes, and we spend a lot of time at work, so we really should enjoy it, Dan.
Yes.
You are listening to 5G Talent Talk. This is Carrie Charles, and I'm speaking with Dan Leaf, the CEO of Leaf Communications. Dan, what are some challenges that you faced with really maintaining a strong culture, and how have you overcome them?
Well, I think the biggest challenges are growth. Everybody recognizes the growth. It's a really neat thing, but it also creates the problems with that. And what I mean by that is, as you scale, you start to get bigger, and there's more layers to the organization that come into play. And so now you really have to rely on those leaders that are part of those divisions internally to carry that culture and that excitement through. And so for us, the challenge is maintaining that culture to where people do feel like they have a voice. We doubled in size last year to this year from an employee count. And so, you lose that personal touch. For me, when you have a small body of people, I could touch them every day and help them every day and really feel their emotions as they went through their day. And as we've doubled with people, it's harder to have that pulse, so to speak. And so what we do is really emphasize our leaders of those divisions to continue that. And we found those leaders that can portray that to the team to make sure that we don't lose that. And that's a big challenge for us. And then on top of that is the quality. So we, as a company that's wanting to grow and the customer base is wanting us to do work for them, there's a fine line of quality and your speed of what you grow with. And so we've really keep a close eye on that growth. I mean, we've gotten recognized for fast-growing company for many years in a row, and that's great, but we feel that we could have even grown faster had we just let the wheels come off. And so that's a really big part of the challenge that we see now. It's a new challenge. As we've gotten to the medium-sized, middle-market company and tasked with multiple regions and multiple markets, that's the most important piece, is to ensure that we still maintain that small feel. Everybody and part of the organization still feels very much part of the process, and then maintain that quality at the scale we most possibly can.
You know, you said something just so insightful. Everyone has a voice, and I think that's key, along with, you know, your leaders' care and that small feel. I think, Dan, that is just spot on, and that's when companies grow, they lose that, and then people miss it, and then they want to leave because of that. So, gosh, that's brilliant. So, Dan, telecom companies, they're finding it, obviously we hear about this everywhere, more difficult to find qualified candidates. This is going to get tougher and tougher with the rollout of 5G. Now, you've got great success here. I know that candidates actually seek you out and they want to work for Leaf. So how have you created this brand?
You know, the brand has really created itself just by hard work, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears. As people say, the brand's really been a product of that exact push. And so, you know, as we want people to come to us, we also want to seek people. And we fully understand that to solve the problem of resources and growth, we can't offer somebody a job from a competitor. We know there's still a hole to fill. You know, with the demand of the market, you know, with a specific carrier that has a main goal of certain amount of builds. So what we do is we do a 1-to-2 ratio. For every skilled person that we find that has the experience and the need, we try to train 2 people internally. So we seek people that have the character and the drive, and we teach the skill set. And so at our headquarters in San Clemente, we have a training facility that we pull people out once a month for about 3 days of training. And at that point, we'll insert someone brand new to the market. If you looked at our organizational chart, you'll find that probably at least 30 to 40% before Leaf Communications was never in this market. And so that's kind of an exciting part for us because we've been able to foster that. We've been able to get people careers that otherwise didn't know existed. It's kind of a hidden market. You know, so that's really what we do is create that brand that people seek, recognize, want to be part of, and bring that family culture to it, but also go out and find people that have, you know, something to prove, that have that drive and that character, and then it's easy to teach the skill set.
You know, Dan, you said something to me years ago, and I've never forgotten it, and I have just used it over and over again, giving you credit, too. So you said, we hire character and we train skills. And you just said it again, and this is key. And I really wish more leaders would have this idea, because we have to solve our workforce issues in this industry. And I just love that, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I think it's just really important to, you know, really highlight that as a company, you know, because for us as a leader, you know, it's important for people wanting to come. And if they have that excitement to it, then I think it makes it pretty easy to get them on the team and get them going. And you know, I always tell people this market's secret. There's a lot of things in it that people think are overwhelming, but in reality of it is, if you can get some quality time, you know, that individual can really come up to speed fairly quickly and make a really quick career. You know, we look at our company and a lot of our leaders that are running multiple markets, huge budgets, you know, they started off as installers. And some of my main operations folks are now leading teams and leading 100-plus projects. And so it's really, for me, that's where the excitement comes from, is watching that and seeing that happen.
You promote from within, you help people grow. I mean, today's, you know, the new generations, that's exactly what they want. They want growth. They want a voice. You definitely are doing this right. Dan, you know, there's leaders listening out there that are probably thinking, you know, I could probably improve my culture. You know, I may need to transform a few things, tweak a few things. How do I do it? So what advice would you give to a company who needs to transform or improve their culture?
I think it's easy, at least for us. The leaders have to get down to the very last person in line, whether they just started or they're learning this. The leaders have to get all the way down to them. And I see a lot with our competitors, there's a huge disconnect. And so it's easy to say that we can change this culture by a little bit of tweaking of something they're doing currently. But to me, it's more than that. It's actually getting in there, rolling up your sleeves, and being part of the program or the project rather than overseeing it. And so that's what would be my first piece of advice is as you look at your teams, big or small, make sure those folks see you, make sure those folks feel you, and you're leading by example. My personal goal is be the first one to the office and the last one to leave. They see that I'm working, so when I ask them to do something or request them to go out and do something that maybe be a little challenging, they know it's nothing I wouldn't do myself. And so I think that's the first step. And as you start to get that momentum, it starts to gain a lot of traction, and you see that speeding up. And then from there, it's almost like it takes off by itself.
Leaders eat last. I love that book. That's great advice. Dan, where can you be reached? If someone wants to learn more about Leaf Communications, maybe the opportunities that you have available, where can you be reached?
Yeah, so, our website's obviously the easiest. It's www.leafcom.com, and that's 2 M's in Leafcom. And that's the best way. You'll find our contact information. You can submit. You can look at some of the job openings that we have. But I'd really ask people to reach out. If they don't see a job posting, that may not necessarily mean we don't have that opening for it. We always are looking for people. We always want to bring in talent, even if we're not there yet, because we see that bigger picture. We know what the demand is coming. And so Leaf Communications is a little bit more proactive. We build for the future, not build for now. And so that's, if anybody's out there looking to inquire about us more, please do. We'd love to talk and share a little bit about our company.
Dan, you really do walk your talk. You are turning over a new leaf. I saw that on your website. I love it. So thank you so much for being with us today on 5G Talent Talk, Dan.
Thank you, Carrie.
And thank you for listening to this episode of 5G Talent Talk, brought to you by RCR Wireless News, Telecom Careers, and Broadstaff Talent Solutions. I would love to hear your feedback. Please connect with me at carriecharles.com, and I will see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to 5G Talent Talk with Carrie Charles, CEO of Broadstaff Talent Solutions. Brought to you by RCR Wireless News and Telecom Careers. Connect with Carrie at carriecharles.com.